Once, in the deep dark forests, where the night darkness permeates every crack, there lived a clans of vampires, bloodwings, and moon predators. The bloodwings were evil and craved only blood and power, while the moon predators refused to participate in blood hunts and sought peace with people. But the evil vampires of the bloodwings decided that humans were just weak obstacles on their way to domination. They started secretly inciting people against each other using their power abilities. Because of this, unexplained conflicts began in the village, and bloody incidents began to happen more often. At the same time, the lunar predators tried to help people by protecting them from the attacks of their fellows. They understood that peace between humans and vampires was the key to the survival of both sides. But their good intentions collided with the powerful influence of the bloodwings, and the situation became increasingly tense. And now comes the night when both clans come to the edge of a great clash that can decide the fate of both vampires and humans. Night came, and the forest was shrouded in darkness. Tension hung in the air, as if the night itself was clutching the thread of an unknown fate in its hands. The bloodwings came out of their shelters, lowering their sinister hoods into the sun. And at the same moment the darkness shone with the sparkling eyes of the lunar predators. Shadows hung on the crooked trees, people who became hostages of this situation. The chain of events unfolded with amazing speed. The vampires rushed one upon the other, opening their terrifying wings, and their mighty shadows danced on the ground like messengers of death. Meanwhile, the people surrounded by this riot struggled to find a way to survive in this grim spectacle. It was at this time, when it seemed that the battle was at its peak, that everything froze. In the deep silence of the forest, rumbling thunder rang out and a bright light illuminated the night sky. Everyone froze like frozen statues, unable to move from horror. But what happened? And what awaits everyone after this instant change? After this startling change of events, everything that exists froze in trembling expectation. The thunder subsided. The light of a dazzling bright luminary eclipsed the night sky, enveloping the gloomy forest with a charming azure glow. Everyone who was present seemed to have witnessed a majestic show, undoubtedly conceived by someone much more powerful and mysterious. Left in limbo, vampires and humans stared into this light, filled with promises and riddles. So, suddenly this bright glow disappeared as quickly as it appeared, leaving behind only a terrible premonition. When the vision of humans and vampires returned to normal, they noticed that all the participants of this unknown show were captured by an unusual shadow that had just pierced the night sky. It was a shadow so powerful that even vampires and humans, angry at each other, were on guard. It was at this moment, when everyone was pulling air in anticipation of what would happen next, that the dark shadow spoke. Her words were wrapped in the magic of history, ancient predictions, and warnings. She informed everyone present that the time of trials had come, which would determine not only the fate of the vampire clans, but also the future of this whole mysterious forest world. The shadow sent an important message to each of the prisoners, intended specifically for him or her, revealing deep secrets and the powers stored in them. She warned about the bloody consequences if the participants refused to follow their destiny, and about the possibility of a prosperous future if they worked together. The decision of the fate of everyone, vampires and humans, now depends on their choice and actions. However, what awaits those who decide to follow the path of peace and cooperation? And what will happen to those who fall prey to the temptation of power and strife? After the shadow uttered its words, giving everyone their own fate and choice, this mysterious figure disappeared as it appeared, as if it had disappeared into thin air. Vampires and people who were in captivity of this unusual shadow were left perplexed and puzzled. The ancient loyalties and sorcerous admiration that filled their hearts demanded answers, but they were left with only a multitude of questions and a seemingly endless array of possibilities. The vampires of the Bloodwings and Moon Predators, still held captive by the mysterious power of the shadow, realized that the time for choice and wise action had come. Under the stars and in the light of the moon, they began to create a plan in order to reconcile and find a common solution that could change their world. At this time, other activities were raging in the depths of the forest. People, having met in this situation, also went deep into reflection and search for a way to peace with vampires. They realized that their destinies are now connected with the destinies of these powerful creatures, and only together they can find the way to harmony and peace. However, the shadows of the long forests hide many secrets, whose true intentions will become stronger, hungry for power and revenge, or bound by the desire for peace and justice. What do the labyrinths of the gloomy corridors of this mysterious forest hide, and what does fate have in store for them? Under the rays of the moon, the vampires of the Bloodwings and Moon Predators, having freed themselves from the captivity of the shadow, decided to join forces in order to find a way to peace and cooperation. They took steps to meet people who in turn also sought peace with vampires. Meetings and negotiations were organized that promised a new era of empathy and cooperation between these two once hostile groups. Their goal is to build a new world where every being, whether vampire or human, can live in harmony and justice. At this time, in the depths of the forest, where the shadow uttered its warning, mystical changes began. The ancient guardians of this forest, having awakened from a long sleep, began to foretell something even more ancient and mysterious. They had knowledge that could save or destroy this world. Their intentions and the consequences of their awakening remained a mystery. While negotiations are underway about a possible peace between humans and vampires, in the depths of the forest, where the ancient guardians were dozing, preparations for the return of the ancient forces have begun. Their awakening promised not only the possibility of salvation, but also a threat to the balance of this world. In the darkness, permeated with violet light, echoes of ancient spells and rituals resounded in all directions, foreshadowing the return of those who had been imprisoned a long time ago. Their intentions and their influence remained a mystery, but their power of long-dormant entities was undeniable. At the same time, negotiations continued. Humans and vampires jointly created plans for the future, hoping for better times and peaceful cohabitation. While humans and vampires were discussing the prospect of peace and harmony, in the dark corners of this mysterious forest, the ancient forces continued their preparations for the return. Bright light and mystical signs foreshadowed the impending change, which could turn into both prosperity and tragedy. Meanwhile, the hopes and aspiration of humans and vampires began to intertwine in a complex pattern of shared desires. They were striving for something more than just peaceful coexistence, something that could change the very nature of their existence. All signs indicated that grandiose events were nearby. Humans and vampires who were on the way to an agreement felt unprecedented forces in their common aspiration. Their desire for peace and understanding became more and more bright and sparkling, like a glow in the night. At the same time, the ancient powers of the forest were reaching their greatest peak, preparing to leave their hiding places and enter the world of the beholders. Their intentions remained a mystery, but the blessing or curse they could bring was in the hands of those who sought unity and understanding. Mystery, danger, and great opportunities collided at the edge of this world, where neither humans, nor vampires, nor the ancient forces themselves could foresee the result. And so, the forces of the ancient guardians re-entered the world of the beholders. Their appearance caused awe and bewilderment among all participants of this intricate world. However, the balance of power had already been broken, and decisive moments were coming. Humans, vampires, and ancient guardians stood on the threshold of great events that fate brought them. At this unpredictable moment, their choices and actions at this crucial moment could determine the future of this world. Mystery, danger, and great opportunities collided at the edge of this world, where neither humans, nor vampires, nor the ancient forces themselves could foresee the result. What awaits those who seek peace, and what will the final awakening of the ancient guardians bring? It's clumsy to leave this fascinating story the present is trying to throw an exclamation about unsafe waters to the swimmer. I hope that we will meet again to see what will happen in this magnificent world where people and shadows intersect, and the future remains an eternal mystery.